Alaska.
Mr. President, I want to acknowledge the comments of the ranking member of the Energy Committee here and her focus on energy innovation, because I think we can look to that as really not only a bright spot in our economy, where we have seen great progress in recent years, but great in enthusiasm and an optimism about the future of our country when we allow our great minds to work on some of these problems of the day to really get us to these advanced solutions. Mr. President, you and I know that we come from a state where, while we are a producing state, an energy producing state, we are also a state that has some of the highest energy costs in the country. Right now, in the village of Fort Yukon, they're paying $7.25 for a gallon of fuel. Up in Kobuk, in the northwest part of the state, they're paying $10 for a gallon of fuel. The rest of the country is enjoying a price break because of the drop in fuel, but in Alaska, when there's no neighborhood filling station that's connected to a road, that's connected to some place that brings you somewhere, you have to bring your fuel in by barge or by plane. You contract for that fuel in July. July's prices are not what they are now. Folks are locked in. You talk about being frozen in someplace. Well, their prices also are frozen in. So we know and understand the challenges when it comes to energy. We know and understand the challenges that it comes to paying to keep your house warm or your lights on. So we have every interest to make sure that we are pushing out, that we are being innovative, that we are being as efficient as we possibly can when it comes to energy use and consumption. So I want to urge us, to push us, to be really aggressive in pushing us towards those technologies that will allow us in a small population state that has no real energy grid, so to speak, to figure out how we can be more self-sufficient. Get us off diesel, get us off $10 a gallon oil in Kobuk, Alaska. We got to figure this out. And so we're going to be doing it. We're talking about the challenges that we face. But I think as we begin this good, robust debate on things like climate, I think we need to be careful about what we are doing in response to the issue of a changing climate. If the answer is to increase your energy costs, if it is to put a carbon tax on, if it is to make it more expensive, if it is to cripple your economy, then we don't have the ability to move out on these technologies, because you know what? They're expensive. And so we need to be a strong economy. So we need to figure out how we can address climate through adaptation, mitigation, new technologies that are going to take us there, to cleaner fuel sources, to renewable energy sources that we have in great abundance in Alaska and elsewhere. But it takes money. It takes a strong economy. So I'm not willing to do anything that is going to put the brakes on our economic strength and viability. So it's a good part of the discussion. It's very, very germane to where we are right now. Mr. President, I have 7 unanimous consent requests for committees to meet during today's session of the Senate. They have the approval of the majority and the minority leaders. So I would ask unanimous consent that these requests be agreed to and that these requests be printed in the record.
Without objection.
And then, Mr. President, I mentioned in my comments, we currently have 6 amendments that are pending to the bill. Our side would like to set up votes on these amendments with a 60-vote threshold required for any amendment that is not germane. We're working on a side-by-side right now on the Schatz amendment, as well as a potential modification to the Fisher amendment. But I don't think that there's any reason that we wouldn't be voting on most, if not all, of the pending amendments shortly after lunch today. So once we've gotten through those amendments, Senator Cantwell and I will queue up the next batch of 2 to 3 amendments from each side so that we can continue to make progress on this bill.